Entire history of Russia. There was other tribes in Russia, like Siberian tribes, Ural tribes, the Scythians, Veneti, barbarian tribe, and Semi people. And there'd be other tribes like the Wans, um, and the Huns, which made an empire, and there was a bunch of barbarian kingdoms. Until the Hun made the empire, but that would collapse, and a couple hundred years later, there would be another empire called the Vikings, which they made the Kievan Rus. But they will collapse into Novgorod, Prague, Smolensk, Volga, Bulgaria, and Chigars. The Mongols invaded the city of Ryazan and burned the city to the ground. The Mongols would continue their invasions through Poland, Hungary, and Bulgaria. Uh, After the Mongols, there would be a bunch of tribes like Novgorod, the Golden Horde, the Prague, Kingdom of Hobjaz and Volhynia, Smolensk, Krakow, Duchy of Punya, and more. Uh, After a couple hundred years, in the 1500s, uh, Muscovy was under Ivan the Third, or Ivan the Terrible, but their enemies was Lithuania. Novgorod tried allying with Lithuania, and then the Russians expanded, and then the Russians took over Crimean Ottoman territories after a couple of wars. And then after that, the Russians soon started to expand in Siberia. Uh, and then they did partitions of Siberia. After a couple of hundreds of years of conquering Siberia, the Russians conquered it because there was nothing in Siberia, and the Russians needed to expand their territories. But in 1812, Napoleon Bonaparte, a Corsican guy, invaded Russia. He had over 600,000 men, the largest army in Europe, and he only had 100,000 when he came back. The Russians defeated Napoleon, and World War One happened and expanded to Central Asia and other parts. Uh, and Germany defeated Russia, and uh, Russia was in chaos, and Russia's half of its territories was gone. There was communism in Russia now, and Russia was in a civil war, and France, United Kingdom, and America sent aid, but the communism would end up winning. And Poland was invaded by the Germans and the Soviets. Uh, and they partitioned Romania. They got North Bessarabia and Bessarabia, which weakened Romania. The Germans invaded the Soviets, and in the first year or years, the Russians were defeated. But at Stalingrad, the most popular battle, uh, um, the Soviets did Operation Uranus was to inflict the German Sixth Army at Stalingrad, which they did. And when the Germans were defeated, there was the West and the East. I'll do more video, but the West ended up winning, and uh, and the Soviet allies left the Warsaw Pact. And fun fact, Kazakhstan, when the Soviet Union fell in 1991, stayed in the Soviet Union for about 4 days before they have gained independence. Um, and final one, the Russians also invaded Ukraine, and Georgia in 2003. Also, there might not be much videos made. Also, my next series will be alternate future of the past, so videos might take about 1 week now.